All right, hello. So what we are going to do today is we are going to learn how to draw a boy and girl face from a side profile. What I have done is I have chosen 4 pictures of 4 different children facing different directions, and I'm going to show you how I would take their head and turn it into a drawing of a side profile of a face. This is harder to do than you might think. So first of all, let me do this little lady over here. She looks like she might like the color purple. So anyway, we're going to start with and by the way, when you're doing this, you don't have to do this first portion where I'm drawing over the picture. If you want to try to follow along with me, just do the second portion if you would, where we're drawing on our own and just blank area, okay? So first of all, when you're drawing the head of a child, their head kind of starts with the shape of a circle, okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add on sort of like the front snout, if you will, and jawline. So I'm just going to add in kind of like a little curve and then like a triangle. It kind of looks like a roundy triangle just coming off the bottom of her face there. Probably on pretty much everybody's head, you're going to have a little bit to add to the cranium or the back of the head. Okay, it gets a little bit wider back there. The next thing you're going to do is add the neck, 2 lines for the neck. It's usually longer in the front because people tend to lean forward. And then there's her back line there. She will also have, I'm going to zoom in here so you can see this, like another little triangle up here where her eyebrow bone kind of sticks out, okay? One other important thing I want to point out when you're doing this, especially when you're doing this not drawing over a photograph, but drawing on your own on just a blank white area, a really important thing to do is draw a line from the top of the ear straight through to the eyebrow, okay? When you draw this line, you can kind of see the angle that the head is tilted. You know what? Scratch that. Instead of drawing to the eyebrow, draw right through the center of the eye, okay? Just go right through that eyeball, because what that's going to do is that's going to give you that dip there where that eyebrow bone meets the nose, like that. Once you have that, you are actually ready to start drawing the side profile on your own. So I'm going to go over here to this blank white area. I'm going to start with a circle for this little girl's head. Circle. I'm going to draw in. By the way, this line, if I was to mark this head at halfway, it kind of starts below halfway and then meets at halfway. So she's kind of looking up on an angle. So if this were halfway, her ear kind of starts here, and then the eye ends about right there. Okay, that's going to give me that point where that eyebrow bone meets the nose. So then down here, I'm going to draw in that little kind of curvy triangle where her jaw kind of pokes out like this. I'm going to add a little bit to the back of the head for the cranium. Short neck at the back, long neck at the front, and then you see a little bit of her back kind of round off there. At this stage, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to build on the nose and the lips. Now, in simple terms, the nose is kind of like a triangle and the lips are triangles, and so is the chin. But if you do that, their face looks really, too geometric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a curve for the nose, kind of a straight line at the tip, and then curve back in. For the lips, they're going to kind of be the same, a curve, 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 and then the chin is just going to round off and meet up with that triangle. Okay, so if I were drawing this out here, I'm going to try to zoom in so you guys can see. I'm going to draw a curve for the nose. Now on children, their nose does not go down very far. If you bring it down very far, they're going to end up looking more like an adult, okay? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that little slope for the lip, slope back in. Sorry, and the angles on these slopes are really important. You want to make sure that those angles are the same as they are there. So instead of having her lip come out and in like this, it's going to look like she's making a kissy face. You want to make more gradual slopes in and out of the lips, kind of like that, okay? So over here, I'm going to do just that. I'm going to do more gradually down into the lip, gradual, gradual, and back into the chin. And this area will round off and meet there. So now we can see her little profile, okay? By the way, on our projects, you're just going to draw the outline. So the only important part, let me just choose a different color here real quick. The only important part of this that you'll leave is sort of the outline here that goes from here, kind of like that. Okay? And then on the back, you'd probably want to add in some hair. So I think she's got maybe a braid going on. So then you would add in like whatever outline her braid looks, something like that. You maybe see like a little gap here in between the braid and the back of the neck. And that is what your profile will look like. You know what? Let me put that on a different layer. Sorry, let me just get rid of that because I want to show you what our project is going to look like so that you'll know. So I'm going to just kind of take down the opacity on this layer. I'm going to do a new layer. Not that you guys will need to do this stuff. I'm just doing it so you can see really clearly. So here's her profile of her face. Sometimes you'll see a little eyelash come out like that. the nose. And so like on your final project, this is how you would do it. You would draw in those light underlines. This line would come in and be a little bit darker. The head might bump up a little bit at the hair. You'll see that braid kind of swoop down in here, and you'll see that gap between braid and neck. And so that area would all stay and the purple would go. So then this is what would be revealed for your project. Then this would be the area that we'd come in and start filling in, you know, crazy patterns and other things going on inside the head, okay? All right, so I'm gonna move on now. We're gonna do this, actually let's go ahead and do a boy and then we'll come back and do the other girl. So I'm just gonna jump crazy and we're gonna do this little guy down here. He's facing the left, so we're gonna do a head facing left now. So again, I'm going to do these next ones kind of quicker. Here's a circle. Here's his cranium where it comes out in the front. You know what? Let me start that over. That seems like the circle should be a little bit bigger. Okay, so if I make this circle bigger, there we go. Maybe a little bit of the cranium at the back coming out, rounding out. If he didn't have hair, he'd probably have skull there. We see the jawline coming out like that rounded triangle, a little bit of the forehead protruding. And then his neckline. Clothing can sometimes make the neckline confusing. Okay, so from here what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark the eye. Remember, the center of the eye to the top of the ear gives you the angle that the face is looking, so he's looking slightly up and to the left. So if I were drawing this, I would start with a circle. Add on that little rounded triangle there for the chin. Add on the back cranium. That little line for the forehead. And then if you make that too bumpy, it now looks like he's got kind of like, yeah, bonked on the head. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to do the neckline, kind of comes out here a little bit into the chin, almost about halfway. The neckline is a little shorter at the back because it hits the back muscles there. And I'm going to make sure and make these shoulders not too wide and the neck not too wide. To be honest with you, I think I made the neck a little wide. It's starting to look like more of a man than a little boy. Let me bring that in a skosh. Okay, so this is going to be more like here. And here, there will be his little shoulder and another little I'm saying soldier, but I'm trying to say shoulder. Goodness, okay. Here is the area where his eye, I'd say that's about, maybe the eye's a little higher than halfway and the ear's a little bit more down, okay? Now we're going to zoom in. We're going to look at his profile. Actually, let me lighten this up. Oops, lighten this up a little bit. And then I'm going to do a new layer. We're going to trace him in green. Okay. So here we go. So now that I've lightened it, you can't really even see it, but I was going to say maybe you can see his nose line a little bit easier. Looks like he's kind of laughing, like his lips are kind of pursed together. So there's the profile down there. There's a little bit of that forehead sticking out. So when I go over to this drawing here, I'm going to start with that nose. You know what? Let me make this a little bit darker green. Oh, let me go to a new layer. Hello. And then it won't be... Then it'll be, full opacity. There we go. Hello, Mrs. Campanella. Okay, so here's his nose, and keep that nose very close to the head. You don't want to go out too far because remember, we're doing a little boy nose. Males have larger noses, so if you make the nose too large, it's going to end up looking like a man, okay? There we go. Here's the forehead. Cranium. Oh, you know what? Let me stop there because actually what we want to do is we want to start giving this guy some curly hair. By the way, for curly hair, I'm not going to go in here and be like, curly hair, because then it'll look like he's got like some kind of nest on his head, okay? We don't want a nest. What we want to do instead is we want to draw the outline of the hair, okay? And as you can see with curly hair, the outlines are usually wavy lines, kind of like that, okay? If I were outlining here, he's got pretty big curls, so some of the waves are big and some of them are kind of small, like tighter curls. So there would be the outline of this little feller's hair. Then once you have this outline drawn, oh, by the way, you don't need to draw this outline inside the head here because we are only going to see the outside edge, okay, which makes things a little bit easier too. So what I'm going to see here is I'm going to see like this curly Q kind of come up here. And we're basically going to see, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as you can see. There's a little bit tighter curls back there. And yeah, that would pretty much be his profile. That's kind of all I'd need to do, okay? All right, I'm going to go on and do a couple more. Feel free to try them out, try them multiple times, and then if you need to, you know, go back and try again, don't be afraid to do that. Drawing the side profile is not an easy thing to do. So So yeah, just be warned. It's not cool, not easy. Okay, this little lady's gonna get blue. I'm gonna start with a nice blue circle for her. You know, I'm getting a little wide there. All right. I'm gonna draw in her jaw that comes out forward again with that rounded triangle. A little bit of the forehead, a little bit of the cranium back here. Her ear to eye line is way up there because she's looking way up in the air. Her neckline is gonna be really short at the back because her head is tilted backwards. There's her front neckline and shoulder. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this part out. So I'm going to start with a circle. Let's see here. We're going to add on that jawline, cranium, a little bit of forehead. Now, by the way, that jawline and that forehead should kind of meet where that eye line is. Make sure it's down low enough. Most people put the eye line way too high. Okay, here's the neck, back. Oh, that looks kind of strange, doesn't it? I feel like I need to make this area larger. Okay, so here's her neck coming down. The back kind of comes straight down like this. All right, so now we're going to go in and draw her cute little nose. Look, you can definitely see an eyelash poking out there. That's cute. You should add those in. Nose, lip. I'm just going to do a straight line where the teeth are. I'm not actually going to draw in the teeth. Okay, she has curly hair again, so we would go in and just do, her hair is tight curly, so we're going to do little close baby lines. If you want to draw in some of her little curly cues back here, that makes it even more cute. So if I were drawing this now on my practice sketch here, I would go in and draw her little tiny nose. And, oops, no, that doesn't look like her nose. Pay attention to the angles. Her nose is kind of upturned like that, goes right down into that lip, straight line, bottom lip, chin. Okay. Ooh, if you make it too long, just erase it, draw it again. I frequently do these things when drawing profiles. It's not super easy, so don't be afraid to make an ugly drawing and erase it and start over again. That's how you learn, okay? What am I doing here? Let's just get rid of that bottom lip. There we go. I think I'm just working my way out too much. Okay, that's better. Not great, but it's better. Okay. Now I'm going to add her hair. Pay attention to the position of the hair, like where does it start on the head, where does it end on the head, and kind of draw it in that way. I'm going to give her some tight little curls on that bun. I'm going to give her little curly cues down here. I'll just draw in a few, okay? And that's it. That's all you'd need for her profile. If you wanted to like see what that would look like on your final project, I'm going to go ahead and do a different layer so you would see her little profile. If you can see your actual image while you're doing this, that's going to help a lot. If you can't see yours, if you want to just look up an image on Google like I'm doing and just kind of draw that way, you could do that as well. All right, let's do this last feller here if you want to watch. If you feel like you want to jump in there and just get going with it, that's okay too. So I'm going to draw in a shape that fills up the majority of his head, sort of like the biggest oval or circle that you can fit inside his head. Not going outside on this side, not going outside on the top or over here, but also kind of touching those edges. Now I'm going to add in the back of his cranium where that brain sits. Ear to eye, he's looking pretty straight out right now, so it's going to be halfway up and just horizontal, perfectly horizontal across there. Let's draw in his chin triangle, forehead triangle, if you will, neck, chest. Oh, yeah, I did add the cranium. Okay, so now I'm going to go out here. I'm going to add in, his started more with an oval than a circle, maybe just a tall oval. Let's add that horizontal line going right through here, and then we know that the chin area is going to meet up with the forehead area right there. Not a very large protruding forehead, so keep it kind of skinny. The cranium comes out pretty big at the back here. And again, with boys with short hair, you tend to see that a lot more. Okay, there's his back line. The neckline at the front is going to look a little bit longer. And then we're going to zoom in here. I'm going to start to draw this little nose, lip, chin. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is, and again, you can see a lot of eyelash coming through the side. So I'm going to draw that eyelash in if you were seeing like right here. I'm going to draw in his little nose. That will go to the bottom of the ear, FYI. If you need to draw a line over like to where does the nose end, that might help you. And then the lip comes right out here. kind of like that. We've drawn this little guy is kind of spiky here. All right, so there you have it. That's what he will look like. Hopefully this helps in drawing your head from a side view. Again, don't be too hard on yourself. I've been drawing the head for like 30 years, so you know it's going to look different. It's going to be easier for me. Don't be afraid to make a bad drawing and try again. Okay. All right. Good luck. Oh, sorry, I don't know what's happening here. I'm trying to